Let's get straight into it. Because of the recent conversation Nene Leakes had with Carlos King and now recently with Kenya Moore, many people want to look back at earlier seasons of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. So I've decided to take this walk down memory lane, but starting with season 3. To me, season 3 is pivotal for many reasons. First, it's the first season with most of our most important characters to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. We have Nene, Kim, Candy, Sheree, Phaedra, we have Cynthia. All right, it sets up some minor divisions that will ultimately lead to major issues between the ladies. For example, the rift between Phaedra and Nene. So let's get into this episode. First, the episode begins with She by Sheree trying to act. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but I completely forgot about this, right? Now, I've seen Sheree lie so much that she should have been nominated for an Emmy, an Oscar, a Tony. She should have been, okay? She said this was a newfound passion of hers and can see herself earning an Oscar. What am I supposed to make of this? Nene comes over. Nene comes over with tea about Kim that she learned in a store, saying Kim was attracted to women. Now, I had to go back and I had to check the dates of when this particular episode aired. So the season aired between October 2010 and February 2011. Sheree says Kim is a media. So I know I left. I was left wondering whether I should even believe it. However, I do want to note that was probably the first time I ever heard someone who is not in the gay community, meaning for me personally, meaning someone who's male and who's a homosexual, saying something that many gay men often believe, and that is the idea of sexual fluidity. Basically meaning that, for one period of your life, this is what you're attracted to, and then you can leave it and never ever go back to it. I've seen this happen so many times. I've also seen a lot of down low guys who in public, a long time ago would act like it was the worst thing ever. Now it's just kind of like, oh well, I don't care, whatever. Ooh. But they're still living, their separate lives. I've seen it all. Okay, but like I said before, I did want to give her props because it was one of the first times that I'd ever seen that happen, and she helped to illuminate the rest of us to that possibility. So Nene tells Sheree she and Kim, meaning Nene and Kim, have a love-hate relationship, but Kim is coming over so the two of them can make up. Kim says Nene was holding her by the neck. All right, now that was for YouTube censors. She was holding her by the neck. But Kim was not in love with the woman. She says she and Big Papa are no longer together. All right, so I happen to remember that at a certain point, it's not going to be for a very long time, but Kim is going to get back with Big Papa. All right, so at the beginning of season 3, Kim is no longer with Big Papa. She says she and Big Papa are not together. Nene confides that she and Greg are not in a good place and seems to suggest that it's based on Nene's newfound finances, meaning the roles have reversed. Nene is making a lot of the money. Greg is not. Now, in that particular episode, she shares the fact that Greg, he's in real estate, and at that particular time, the real estate business was not. It wasn't doing well. Remember the Great Recession, right? So, that kind of makes sense. The fact that he wasn't making a lot of money at that particular time. Kim tells Nene that Dwight told her a lot is going on. Okay. Kim tells Nene that Dwight told her Greg asked for $10,000. In response, Nene says Dwight has a face. And then he should probably want to breathe. Now that's not exactly how that happened, but I mean that's exactly what happened. Okay. Candy meets with Kim and they catch up. Candy is now dating an NFL football player, but she's putting lots of time into her music. Kim tells her about meeting Nene. Okay, Candy was not here for that at all. By the way, looking at Candy at that particular time, season 3, Candy was snatched, y'all. Like her stomach was non-existent. Non-existent. Her face was slender, all of that. Her voice was different too. Her voice was higher. You know, it was higher back then. So later, Candy takes Willis out for a date. They go rock climbing, and as they're ascending, all I could see was just voluminous amounts of ass. His and hers. For days. Candy Lady tells him that she plans on being celibate, but oral is still on the table. Next, there's a nice scene with Kim and her daughter. What I found fascinating, just going back all of these years, I do remember how like it was just a big thing about making certain that our kids were monitored while they were, online, watching the page and see what people were doing. Nah, that wasn't it. That wasn't it, buddy. It was so, while it was good that she was watching her page, she really needed her password. And then to find out later that her daughter had 2 accounts. Now, I still don't have 2 accounts. I know, like a lot of people have, 2 different types of accounts, one professional and one for, whatever it is. I get it. But for a parent, it is crucial that you have access to your kids' accounts because anything can happen. So later in that particular episode, we are introduced to Phaedra, the graceful one, or so she says. She's pregnant and married to Apollo, the Greek god and ex-felon himself. Phaedra is an attorney and knows Dwight. As I think about it, I'm literally just thinking about this right now. It was like the 2 of them, their personalities are like nearly the same. He has this dry humor, and so does she. Right? She flowers it with a nice smile, but she has a dry humor if you've ever paid attention to Phaedra, and so does he. So it fits that the 2 of them would know each other. I mean, if that was real, I'm assuming it was. He said that she is his attorney, but I wonder what he needed legal advice for. Okay, Dwight says he spent $30,000 on Sheree's fashion show. Phaedra says she and Nene grew up in Athens, but doesn't think Nene is very ladylike. Now, I was late to watching Real Housewives of Atlanta. I think season 3 was my first season. Season 3 was my first season, like really, really watching. I think in the run-up to season 3, I started watching some of the episodes. Some friends of mine were saying, you gotta watch it. Okay, so I watched some of them, but I wasn't really invested, because I knew season 3 was coming up, and things kind of changed between the seasons. And the real reason I even wanted to watch it was because Candy was on there. right? Because I'm a guy of a certain age, and I remember when Escape came out, all that other good stuff, right? So I don't know why I got on that tangent. Nene invites Kim to a shoe boutique that she knows Dwight will be there for. Nene confronts Greg about the $10,000, and Greg denies it, but acknowledges the two of them, meaning he and Dwight, were involved in a venture investment together, totaling $500. So Nene feels Greg should have discussed it over with her prior to, since Dwight is her friend, not his. So later, Candy visits Kim and sees how she disciplines, and Candy wasn't here for it either. So let me say something. So I don't know about your mother, but my mother, it wasn't no 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. It was a look. That look communicated everything that needed to be said. As soon as that look came my way, I'm jumping up. I'm moving out of the room. I'm cleaning my room. I am I'm taking my shirt, tucking it inside out. I'm dusting. I'm doing everything I possibly can, because that look communicated, oh, it was on and popping. Okay. My mom didn't have to tell me but one time what she wanted or needed me to do, what she expected me to do, and that was it. Okay. But yeah, like the fact that Candy was just like, and then what you gonna do now? Because I see you counting 2.5. When you gotta count to 2.5, your power has long been gone. All right. So anyway, Miss Lawrence goes to Sheree's house and she tells him about the shoe boutique opening. She also tells him about Dwight, saying she owes him $30,000. So right here, it's very clear some sort of confrontation is coming up. On the way to the shoe boutique opening, Nene tells Kim she's on a roller coaster with Greg. She says he's a liar and can't be trusted. She doesn't love him anymore. They also rehashed the $10,000 situation between Greg and Dwight. While at the boutique, let's set up who is there and who's not. So Nene, Sheree, Dwight, Phaedra, Kim, Miss Lawrence. They're all there. Who's not there? Candy and Cynthia. The only two who are not there. All right. So that lets you know that Candy is on the outs. Even though she was there for season 2, Candy is on the outs with these ladies. Sheree says the shoes are 2 seasons ago. Now, okay. This is coming from, now at this particular point in time, Sheree wasn't known for wearing a lot of bodysuits. She wasn't necessarily known for wearing a lot of bodysuits, right? And at the time, I don't think I ever would have said that Sheree was always the best dressed. But Sheree, to me, had a very nice body. She carried herself very well. I did note, though, that when she and Miss Lawrence were in her room, in her closet, she had red bottoms, and I had to check on this, because I ain't got money like that, so I wanted to know when red bottoms came out. Red bottoms came out all the way back in the 90s. Okay, so okay, all right, cool. 20 years later, she has red bottoms, but 20 years from that point, she was probably in college and she couldn't afford it anyway. But I just thought that, because I wanted to know when red bottoms had become mainstream, like to the point where like it was in music, because that would have given me an indication as to whether or not she was jumping on a bandwagon or she led the bandwagon. Didn't really know, but anyway. So now all the girls are there and comparing notes about Dwight, and it's starting to sound a whole lot like he's lying. Nene thinks it's strange that plain Jane Phaedra is there. Nene snubs Dwight, and immediately they go at it. She gives him a check for $500, but he tears the check up. Now, if after tearing the check up, he had come back with something, smart to say, people probably wouldn't have been looking at him in the way that they are now, right? If he had come up with something witty in the moment to say, but he didn't. In fact, the entire time that she was on him, in his face, y'all. Now, I will say this. I did not like the fact that she was in his face. Didn't like the fact that I didn't like it. Because, like, what are you going to do? Like, so as a man, you know that you can't put your hands on a woman. But this woman comes up to you, right? And it's almost as if saying, what you gonna do? I can do this because I'm a woman. So you're using the fact that you're a woman to invade my space. That wasn't cool. That wasn't cool. And when I saw that particular episode, I believe those were the same thoughts that I was thinking at that particular time. Like, I didn't like what I was seeing from her. I really didn't. I thought that was not cool. And I understood how and why the white would have been trying to de-escalate the situation. However, I never heard him make an attempt to answer her in any way. Like, if he had said, take 10 feet, give me 10 feet and we can discuss. Give me 10 feet and we can discuss. Right now you're agitating me and I want to talk about this, but give me 10 feet. None of that happened. Anyway, so they leave. The white stays, and of course the white, apologizes. And at that particular point in time, the white, you're looking a fool. He was looking a fool. He was. I'm going to say he was looking a fool. But he apologizes nonetheless, which was, I think the right thing to do. But Nene leaves along with Kim, and she was apologizing for her behavior, which, she should have. But she was also happy that Kim and Sheree were there for her. And looking back at what we now know about Nene, that is in keeping with who and what she is. I don't think anything that she displayed was outside of her normal behavior in terms of what she expects from her friends. She does expect a sense of loyalty from them. I do want to say, though, after all of these seasons, I can see how this episode was almost contrived, but at the same time, it was real. I can see how it was contrived. I can see how all of these people were probably made to talk about particular situations, that it was going to blow up at this event. Now, if I'm opening a shoe boutique, would I want this to happen at my grand opening? Like, I don't know. Like, why would people put themselves in that situation? Like, that's what your boutique would be known for. Or maybe that's what you want. Maybe, whatever. I guess I shouldn't care about them. Because after all these seasons, when people from a housewife show up, cameras are there, something's about to go down, like at this particular point in time. So you know what? That's why they always show the I don't know what it's called, the marquee or whatever. That's why they always show the marquee, because they're giving them props. Hey, go visit this particular place because we acted a fool while we were there. So anyway, I saw how things were contrived. But it was done beautifully, I thought. Did I think that what Phaedra did in that particular episode was worthy of her getting impeached? No, I don't. I don't think it was worthy. But hearing how and why she got the peach, I understand. Thank you so very, very much for watching. I'm going to try to do this 2 or 3 times a week. Um, Please don't forget to kiss on that subscribe button, lick on that like button, share us on all your social medias, nibble on the notification button, and make love to our senses in the comments. Have a great one.